applause. Please welcome Ben Leonberg.
Oh, thank you.
So Ben, first question for you. I would imagine years of R&D and millions of dollars pumped into whatever computer-generated AI you built to create the effects of the lead in this film, because certainly that was not a real dog, right?
It's not only a real dog, it's only one real dog who can only work a few hours a day. So we made this film a few seconds a day over 400 days across 3 years.
Wow. Luckily, it's your dog, so it's not like you had to go to a friend and say, "Can we borrow your dog again?"
Yep, exactly. He's my dog. Originally got him just to be my pet, and then here we are.
Well, that's the key question. Is my understanding is initially you were, because you no longer were, but you were a film professor at Columbia University. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Uptown, and you started making shorts with your dog at home in New Jersey, and I'm curious about what those shorts were like. And then at what point did you say, you know what, I think we can actually turn this into a feature?
Yeah, so I'd had this idea for a horror movie told entirely from the perspective of a dog. After watching Poltergeist for the millionth time, if you remember, that movie begins with a golden retriever clearly aware of the haunting before the humans, catch on. And that trope is everywhere. The dog who just won't go into the basement, that's weird. Or the dog who's really, adamant about barking about the next door neighbor who's doing something in the backyard. How could you tell a story entirely from that dog's point of view? To test the idea, because I really wanted to stick with that point of view character of the dog, I started recreating scenes from existing films, but with my own dog, because he was around. The first one was the Room 237 discovery from The Shining, where instead of Danny, having a tennis ball roll up to him and then finding an open door, I just tried to recreate that shot for shot with my dog, which was challenging because especially then, and still now, he has no idea he's in a movie. So getting the camera in his face, controlling where he is looking, the kind of thing you can tell an actor, just do this.
Yeah.
You have to find ways to elicit that performance, which can be tricky.
Well, you can only tell some actors. Some actors, of course, are not going to listen to their director no matter what. Are those shorts online? Can people see those? Or
so they're all in the lead up to the movie. They've all been pulled, and maybe there's a collection we're hoping to look to put together for physical media. There's ideas of how to put those back out there. I would love to share the ones, especially the recreations of scenes from The Shining, because they're kind of fun to see as side by sides. It's a difficult rights issue.
Right. So we all have to go to your house and just
if you come to my house, I would love to show them to you. Yeah.
So, and then at some point you're like, yeah, we can do it. But like you said, the dog is only going to work a couple hours a day. So you let that somewhat tailor the storytelling. It's like, what can we do that we don't need a huge crew for, that we don't need other actors, although you have voice actors, the people we see, that's actually you and your producer/wife, correct?
Indeed, and the crew is also me and my producer/wife. So it was figuring out both what Indy can do, embracing everything that's great about him, constantly discovering the things he can't do, adapting, and then just kind of running with that. It wasn't so much training him to be in the movie as it was learning how to make a movie around him. Yeah. The house you see in the film is the house we lived in, moved into specifically to make the movie, decorated to look like the haunted house. And there are advantages to him being our own dog and making the movie for that long. It's usually very hard to elicit a performance, but there's some things that were surprisingly easy and things that, I think count for a lot. There's scenes where we see genuine love and affection between Todd and Indy, and that's real because Indy's my dog and those are my legs and hands and we like each other. So there are advantages, in addition to the challenges, which are many.
But you sort of had an overarching story you wanted to tell, but you knew that there were some gaps of how the story would play out, and some of it would be based on what kind of shots you could capture. Like you're like, oh, today we really need to capture Indy feeling this. And if you couldn't get it, you could then kind of spin it a different way or move stuff around a little bit, the editing to make it seem as if Indy's doing what you want him to do?
Yeah, we were always ready to pivot, to embrace what either he could or couldn't do. But I would say just an overall note about how we directed Indy or got his performance. We were very rarely trying to get him to elicit a specific emotion. Rather, we were trying to figure out how to make the filmmaking convey an emotion that then the audience projects back onto him. I know that sounds a little convoluted, but trust me when I say that most of the filmmaking, especially for the scenes that look scary, the reality of what's happening is that Indy is looking off camera, very interested in my wife and I, going, hamburger helper, neon sign. And he doesn't know what that means because it's nonsense, and he's kind of just perplexed and vexed. And you add all the sound design and the point of view shot of the shadow moving across the wall, and it tells the audience this is scary. And you say, that dog is scared. Right. He's not scared, you're scared, and you're putting that onto him. So it's kind of an interesting trick, and I think also an observation about how acting works. You know, there's certain actors that are famous for like not doing a whole lot, and I don't think that's bad or wrong. It allows the audience to kind of bring themselves into the movie, and it's very easy to do that with a dog.
Well, it's funny that you're a former film professor, because not everybody gets to take film classes at Columbia, so you're all getting a deal here tonight, because he's going to lay some knowledge on you here. Tell me a little bit about this probably 100-year-old theory from Soviet Russia.
Yeah.
That was it something that you said, we're going to deploy that theory making this film, or did you kind of realize later, oh, this is what I teach in class?
It's definitely something I knew that we teach this in class, and that this would be a great example of what's called the Kuleshov effect, which I don't expect most people to know. It said it's for, yes, someone goes woo. So the Kuleshov effect is everywhere, even if you don't, think of it. Essentially what it is that shots put in sequence, and films are made of shots, edited together, can create meaning that otherwise wouldn't be there. And the original experiment was if you take an actor in a close-up and you just see their face and they're doing nothing. It's just a neutral expression, but you cut from that face doing nothing to the point of view shot of a bowl of food, you'll say, that guy must be hungry. But if you use the same shot of the guy with the neutral face and then cut to a grave, you'll say, that guy must be sad. It's the cut and the implication that the juxtaposition makes that kind of creates the meaning. We're doing that everywhere in Good Boy. Indy's superpower, if he has one, is that he's very intense, he's very intelligent, and he doesn't pant a whole lot. So his eyes just kind of look like they're processing, and they are because we're saying hamburger helper to him to, control where he's looking, and to, then use a next shot of a dark corner where, shadows are growing and there's an ominous swell of music to kind of convey the meaning of what he's meant to be thinking about.
Yeah. It's fascinating, it really is. And the other fun thing about the production of it, the fact that you did it at home over the course of 3 years or whatever, is that movies are not necessarily made in order, and you were telling me earlier that there was a continuity issue because while you're making this movie, you're giving your dog lots of treats, right? Because good boy, right? Good.
Yes, he is.
Here's some more Alpo or whatever you give him, and then you realize that you had to shoot something from earlier. And what did you discover?
Well, we discovered that it was actually in the finale of the film. Very early we decided, let's get the entire final dark and stormy night, that 5.5 minutes that takes place outside in that final exterior, rain and lightning, which is, rain we've created and lightning we're creating, and Indy's soaked, and we were kind of looking at the edit and we're like, is Indy a little bigger here? Which is a very easy thing to manage for a dog. So we just had to cut back on the craft services a little, and he's back in fighting shape for sure. But if you look very closely, you can notice a little bit of a continuity issue.
That's so funny. That's so funny. So now you are a dog movie expert. I mean, you're a movie expert, but you're a dog movie expert. So what are some of your favorite dog performances, other than Indy and Good Boy, which is, I think, clearly top of the line one. It's certainly the most dog performance.
I love that it's the most dog performance. I think I'll sleep good with that. I think my favorite dog performance, and this is from another horror movie. Do folks know the film The Thing? All right. So Jed, the wolf dog from The Thing. So if you don't know him from that, he's also White Fang from the Ethan Hawke White Fang film. I think he is the finest dog actor who's ever lived. I'm like 100% serious. John Carpenter on the director's commentary, which I've listened to many, many times, talks about working with him. And I think it's because he's a half wolf, half dog hybrid. He has a even more intense stare. And there's scenes in the beginning of The Thing where we see a dog and we have reason to believe that maybe he isn't really a dog. He's, spoilers for The Thing, he's an alien. And there's scenes where there's a dog casing the joint, which is like, that is such a complicated thing for us to understand a dog to be doing because it has more intelligence than the humans.
Right, yeah. It's
just like remarkable what they're able to achieve with him.
Yeah, it's a great example of the audience knowing more than the characters, and to achieve that with the dog. And you have that. That's what your whole movie is really. It's just it's amazing. I think. Do we have time for a question or two from the audience? I think we do. If someone has a hand up, we will call in the back with the hat. She's got a.
Hi. So my question is, I know you talked about how we're putting a lot of ourselves onto Indy, but when filming that scene in the water and the rain, how was it managing him through that? Because dogs don't love being wet generally. I don't know if Indy.
Not this dog.
So like, how did you elicit? I don't know, because we're giving him fear, but the noises and everything, was that post production of like the squeals and the?
Oh, for sure. So all of the sounds in the film, except when his mouth is moving to bark, was recreated in post production. So what you would hear if you heard the production audio would just be my wife and I having a insane sounding conversation that is both surreal and a little funny with Indy. We're the ones, a shot would go like this. I would spend all day setting up the shot with what I expected Indy would do. I would wait for the sun to go down, my wife to finish her day job. I would turn on the camera, run around and be in the camera after turning on rain machines and teaching my wife how to trigger the lightning effects, position Indy just so, and act with him on camera, deliberately with my face cropped out, which is both a creative and a practical consideration. And then, we get our shot, which is me being like, good boy, stay, whoa, hamburger helper, to cue that perfect reaction. The sound team, after everything's been edited, replaces everything. They had atmosphere, all those little jingles of his collar, his footsteps on the roof of the doghouse, the whimpers and whines to let you know what he's feeling. It really helps kind of complete the illusion of his performance, I guess I would say. And to answer the first part of your question, Indy loves water. He loves water, even though I think water, you have a cat, you said?
Yes.
One of the easiest ways to just very simply create a performance. You want an animal to look sad? Apply water. I don't know why, but like cat owners, right? Indy loves water. The other scene that, I won't ramble on, but I think it always gets a good reaction is Indy disappears for a moment and then reappears behind the door covered in mud. And people usually go, and look at me and glare at me. But I want to ask you, do you think it was very hard to get my dog to roll around in mud? Have you met many dogs?
That's a favorite thing. Well, two things come to mind. Number one, DVD alternate audio track. Just put that on there. And I want an hour and a half of you saying hamburger helper. I think that's good. I think future rave DJs will use that and mix that in there. And then the second thing is, so you made this thing for 3 years. What the hell did your neighbors think? Like you were running around with a camera, putting the dog in mud.
So part of, I would say, the most challenging casting process, because Indy was our dog. I mean, he was, born into it. Was actually finding the house, because we knew we were this was not a normal location scout. Most films film for a few days, 12 hours a day, just until the filming is done and everyone goes home. We needed to live in the house, decorate it to look like the haunted house, film in it, also live our lives there. It had to look the part, and we had to not be able, in a position where we'd be constantly getting the cops called on us for disturbing the neighbors and whatnot. So we fortunately found a homeowner who had this, old historic house in the middle of an old Revolutionary War battlefield. It seems like it should actually be haunted, even though it is in fact very charming. But yeah, no, it was just a long process to find. Our neighbor was delighted that it happened. Our neighbor was our landlord, so that helps.
Okay. Well, listen, we got some good news for the people in the audience tonight. But before this comes out, just some word of warning. The producer is here. So everybody's excited about that. But also, Indy the dog is here. So, but Indy the dog is, as we know, the greatest actor since, I think Spaniel Day-Lewis, as we can call it. He's the finest actor there is. But believe it or not, is a little shy. So applauding with your heart, not with your hands, when Indy comes out, applaud with your heart and try not to make too much noise.
Signing?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I think if Indy wants to come out with also Kari Fisher, the producer and second in command, or maybe first in command of this project, are in the house, and I'm going to get off this seat and.
Come here. Indy, sit. Do you want to start or you want me to start?
I can start.
Okay, yeah, we can keep going. Indy's just going to be doing tricks on the side
Who
over
has a
here.
question? This fella here's got a question, and his hand right up. Yeah, you.
So I wanted to know, because it's your dog, as far as funding for the film, did you just like start it and then like, I'll show test footage, whatever later? Or was it like something you were like, hey producer, I wanna shoot this film and then you got it?
Well, we do have the producer right here. The truth is, this was a family project. We funded the movie ourselves with essentially our day jobs, and we just made the movie. Those 400 days of filming, it was just me, Kari, and Indy, the three of us, working very slowly for a long period of time. And our budget was essentially what we had in our bank account, and our schedule was what time we had to spare. He really can only work a few hours a day. You know, each day we were only getting a few seconds of finished film. We like to kind of compare it to, you know how some people restore houses or classic cars like in their driveway? This is our hobby, doing this. So it's a highly unusual production.
Yeah, movies are not made like this. This is an
Yeah.
anomaly. This
Yeah.
is a one of a kind. There'll never be another movie like this. It is truly, forgive me, an indie film. What is he gonna do? He's gonna jump up and get some. Yeah. Oh, adorable. We got time for one or two more questions. Oh, way back corner with the hat. Yes.
How you doing? Quick question. If Indy's your dog, whose dog is Bandit?
Oh, great question. So Bandit is my parents' dog. It really was a family project. And I gotta say, after 3 years of learning how to work with Indy and really embracing what's good about him, you're not really seeing it now, but he's very serious, he's very driven. Above everything else, I think he loves to have a job. I think his job he would prefer is tennis ball, but making movie was a good second that he put up with. Bandit, on the other hand, is the kind of dog that as soon as you touch him, he lays on the ground, flops on his side, and shows you his belly for belly rubs, which is actually a lot harder to work with. Indy is he can't say no to a job.
Did you consider, for the part of Bandit, getting a more trained movie feeder dog, or?
We did, but there's kind of an advantage to Indy and Bandit. His real name is Max. Max already knowing one another.
Oh, I see.
So we first were like, the same way where we kind of slowly came to the conclusion that Indy could do this, we were like, well, Indy and Max already know each other. We might as well try. And the footage was good, so we kept going.
That's great. That's great. Okay, two more questions. This fella right here in the front.
Yes. I know you made a joke about it earlier, but would you honestly consider a sequel? Because I'd love to know what happens,
I mean, we've certainly considered a sequel. I think there's so much more you can do with dogs in genre films in general. I mean, not just haunted house films. There's more ideas. Making the movie for as long as we did, we had, just pages and pages of ideas of things we couldn't film. So I'm pretty sure the next movie I'm going to make has a human actor who agrees on the reality of the premise that he is indeed in a movie. But I will probably return to dog filmmaking at some point.
Well, a lot of that has to do with all of you. I mean, Hollywood runs by opening weekends, and the more, if you enjoyed the film, and I think the fact that you stayed here through the talkings that you did, the more of you that go on Facebook and whatnot and say, oh my God, you have to see Good Boy, it's really good. That's how future financiers determine who they want to employ. So if you want Indy to get the good kibble, power is up to you. Last question. Somebody, this fella right here.
First and foremost, I want to say congratulations on the release.
Thank you.
Coincidentally, last night I had to rewatch one of my favorite movies, which is The Shining. I kind of noticed a lot of similarities, especially between Indy and the child in The Shining. Kind of like I guess Indy kind of being like having the shining, so to speak.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you if there was any inspirations, maybe that or any other inspirations you have after the film.
100%. You're naming one of my favorite movies. Not just was it an inspiration. If you watched The Shining last night, there's a scene where Danny is moving through the hotel, not the house, comes to the end of a hallway and sees two twin girls, come play with us, Danny, forever and ever and ever, and he's seen flashes of these grisly murders. You have to go back and watch it. But there's a scene in this film where I essentially copied that, almost shot for shot, but instead of seeing the two twin girls, he's seeing Todd's dead body. But even the whistling he's hearing coming from the basement is almost a direct homage to the cadence of what the girls are saying. It was an absolutely huge influence. I mean, we never thought that like Indy has The Shining. I think the idea was that it's a little harder to believe that like a person might be psychic, but it's so easy when it's 2 in the morning and your dog just suddenly starts barking at nothing to believe my dog, who has legitimately superpower hearing and a nose that if we had, we'd be a superhero. It's very easy to believe, what might they be seeing that we can't? So 100%.
That's great. Well, listen, we're going to have to wrap it up here, but again, Indy is the best dog on the planet, but he's a little shy, so we ask you to remain seated while the filmmakers and the talent leave. But before we do, and did we want to take a video of this? If you wanted to say goodbye to Indy.
Oh, yes.
Perhaps on the count of 3, this will be good for Instagram. If on the count of 3 we could all say the name of the movie, because Indy likes hearing that. So I'm going to count to 3. I will say 1, 2, 3.
Good boy.
Should we do that one more time? Let's do it one more time. That was a rehearsal. Indy's used to 700 takes. They took 3 years to make the movie. So okay. So 1, 2, 3.
Good boy.
All right. Thanks again. No applause, but.
Thank you. Seriously, thank you for coming out on opening night. It really means a lot. Indy's touched, even though he doesn't know he was in a movie. Yeah, of course. Where'd you get this? It looks awesome.
I printed it out.
Yeah. You want to make it out to anybody?
My name's Eli.
Eli?
Yeah.
E-L-I?
Yeah.
Oh, is it silver? Perfect.
Congratulations on opening the doors.
Thank you so much.
It was great. We loved it so much.
Of course.
And a quick selfie as well?
Yeah, of course.
I'm very excited for Indy to get that hamburger helper sponsorship.
Yes. Thank you.
Washes away the millions of people.
Kari, you mind signing?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, you guys look great. Thank you so much.
Yes.